And you've got to... And you've got to...
First, you've got to get mad.
And you've got to... And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers.
You gotta say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value. My life has value.
And you've got to... That freedom ring.
Every time you buy something or don't,
Wiki World Order.
you're casting a vote.
Welcome, friends, to episode 2, altbib.com, how I arrived at the Wiki World Order. Despite initial skepticism, I have been blown away over the years of how often there is in fact much more evidence and more convincing evidence for some conspiracy theories than for the official explanations, which are usually in fact also conspiracy theories, just with a different bad guy and narrative. The very label conspiracy is sometimes used intentionally as a slur, instructing the listener to dismiss, reject, or deny anything said as crazy. Therefore, we who try to approach these difficult topics often prefer to talk about these things not as conspiracy theories, but just as alternative analysis of an event, a competing theory to be weighed by the evidence at hand. If you have yet to scratch the surface of such alternative analyses of our shared reality, then a very warm welcome to you. Do not be afraid. Such information may lead you to a very painful reality, but this is such an exciting time to be alive, and we must learn from our mistakes if we wish to move forward in this critical period. No matter your familiarity with the information, I strongly encourage all of my listeners to check out the work of James Corbett with his Corbett Report at CorbettReport.com, open source intelligence news. I found his work far later in my research than I would have liked, but he has really covered these topics in a format and voice I have long waited for. I thank him dearly for this and request that you listen to any of his episodes which spark your interest, for I will usually only scratch the surface here. A bit over a year ago, while diving into the difficult task of trying to convince my loved ones of my crazy beliefs regarding recent history, I had a desire to use some resource to quickly bring the few dozen key mainstream articles with the evidence vital to a few alternative theories. There were some good data dumps on some specific topics, but I couldn't find what I had in mind for the bigger, interconnected picture. My lazy pass-the-buck first response was to contact InfoWars and see if they already had such a thing or were interested in making one, since they are already such a key nerve for the movement. Having professionally built web-based software for nearly a decade, it only took me a couple days without a response before I started coding. I built a collaborative research database to help me organize and back up all this key evidence and documentation which had convinced me of such crazy realities. I hastily named the database InfoWarDocs.org, but after growing with it for over a year, I have just recently renamed it to altbib.com, aka alternatebibliography.com. I came to this name essentially because it's a bibliography for alternative theories, which ironically references mostly mainstream sources. I basically use to catalog articles, documents, and some video clips I find compelling related to any of the topics which spark my interest. I use a heavy tagging method and back up the source document on my server, except for the last half of the videos posted, when there's time. There are now over 4,700 links posted with 6,500 tags, keywords, and 46,000 linkages. So it's a great resource for those documents on the tip of your tongue, or to look over the evidence for alternative theories with more distance from the bombastic narratives of alleged conspiracies, Any visitor can add tags to the database, add links to the database using the same tool I do, or add tags and vote for links as interesting or not. I still personally go through all the suggestions to try to keep the formatting relatively consistent. As a side note, over the course of adding the first 2,000 links, my tagging style developed a lot, so I'm still working on re-tagging many of the first 1,600 documents better to match the later style. But without promoting the site too much and focusing on it as a personal research tool, I still received some encouraging feedback from people online. For example,
I was motivated to donate to your work because I feel that we really need to concentrate on fact-checking in order to make real headway.
I don't honestly think that's the kind of question we should be asking.
I've researched for 3 years on our government corruption and the elite controlling our government. People need to wake up and do some research and reading. The one place I have found more factual documents with the truth than any other is www.infowardocs.org. You will be amazed at the documents they have in there, and they are all verifiable people.
a huge thank you to the bunch of people who have suggested a few hundred links, rated links, and passed the site on to their friends. And an extra thank you to Jim and the other person who donated in support of my efforts. Pretty early on, I also decided to announce my database on Jason Burmis' show, The Info Warrior, to share my work with him and his very cool and relevant audience.
All right, let's go to Morgan in Maryland. Morgan, you're on the air.
Hi, Jason. I just want to help out. I was so excited to hear a few callers calling earlier asking for a document list, and it's something that I came to the same wall a couple weeks ago and trying to, passionately explain to my parents and my girlfriend about a lot of these issues, and I just wanted a list, where I could just search for the words and try to show them the documents.
Well, you know what?
So
we're going to come back to you, and we're going to talk about this more. But really, the forums are the place to go. That's where you can have a subject line, where you can have a quick link. Remember, we can't just give you other people's information and documents. We have to write stories about that and then source it. We'll come back after this. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Burmis, prisonplanet.com, Infowars.com. Morgan in Maryland. Morgan, go ahead.
Thanks, Jason. So basically, I've created infowardocs.org. Basically, documentation. It's all the links that you guys referenced last night. For example, I just rewatched Obama Deception and pulled up every link, entered it as a link in there. So if you're watching Obama Deception with your friends, you can do a quick Control-F or search or filter by tags on there.
And that always helps us, by the way. We love that, Morgan. Somebody did that with martial law. If you go to martial law, I think, .info, or you just type in martiallaw.info into Google. They did the same exact thing where they went through the entire thing and went through every document that we sourced in that film, and now you've done it for the Obama Deception and even the stuff that we were talking about on our radio programs over the week. This is impressive, and we need this kind of dedication, sir.
Great, and I would love for people to add, suggest links, and even if somebody in the studio wants a password, you guys could add links directly, but having people add tags to things and rating things, I think it could be a great open source tool because I feel that's our advantage. We're an open source movement. Google it yourself, learn it yourself. So you guys are doing great. Thank you so much.